The bank doors hissed open, letting in a cold draft that clung to her thin sweater. Maria clutched her worn-out purse tightly, the fabric fraying at the edges, as she stepped into the fluorescent-lit lobby. All she wanted, all she asked for, was simple. "I just want to see my balance," she whispered. But the teller didn't even look up yet. Across the room, laughter echoed. Loud, sharp, mocking. A group of wealthy businessmen in tailored suits stood near the VIP counter, one of them pointing directly at her. The leader, a man in an immaculate navy suit, diamond watch flashing, leaned toward his friend and smirked. "Look at her," he said, voice dripping with condescension. "She probably has $5 in that account." More laughter. Maria lowered her eyes. She wasn't new to shame. It had followed her for years, since the day her husband died, and left her juggling 2 jobs and a mountain of debt. But today hurt worse. Because today she wasn't here for groceries, rent, or bills. She was here with one silent, desperate prayer. "Please, please let there be enough for my daughter's medicine." Her hands shook as she approached the teller. "Account number?" the teller asked without emotion. Maria handed over the faded card. She could feel the men behind her still watching, amused. The teller typed, paused, frowned. Then something strange happened. She straightened. Her face softened. Then she stood up completely. "Ma'am," she whispered, eyes widening. "One moment, please." Maria's heart stuttered. Was her account frozen? Overdrawn? Was this the moment she finally lost control of everything? The suited man behind her chuckled. "Probably negative, sweetheart," he said loudly. "Don't worry, savings accounts are hard when you're poor." Maria closed her eyes. She wished she could disappear. But then, the teller returned with a manager. A tall man, serious-faced, holding a printed sheet. "Ms. Alvarez?" he asked gently. Maria nodded nervously. "Is something wrong?" she whispered. He shook his head slowly. "No," he said. "In fact, something very right just happened." He turned the paper toward her. Maria blinked. Once, twice, 3 times. Because she thought her eyes were lying. The numbers didn't make sense. Her account had more money in it than she had seen in her entire life. 6 figures. Her knees nearly buckled. This can't be mine," she gasped. "It is," the manager said softly. "This amount was deposited last night. Anonymous transfer." Behind her, the millionaire businessman smirked. $6? 60. He nudged his friend, snickering. "Go on, tell us. How broke is she?" Maria didn't turn. She couldn't. Her hands were trembling too hard. The manager inhaled deeply. "Sir," he said, raising his voice slightly, "if you are so curious, her new balance is substantial." The millionaire chuckled. "Oh, really? Let me guess. $200. The manager cleared his throat. "Actually, it's $487,200.59. Silence. Pure, stunned silence. The suited man's smirk fell off his face like it had been sliced away. His mouth fell open. His friend coughed. Another one choked on his coffee. Maria's world spun. I don't understand," she whispered. "This must be a mistake." "No mistake," the manager said gently. The deposit came with a note. He unfolded a tiny slip of paper and handed it to her. Maria held it with shaking fingers. A simple message was written in delicate handwriting. "For the kindness you showed me when I was invisible. A friend." Maria's breath caught. Invisible. No one knew. No one saw. Except a memory flickered. A cold night. An old homeless man outside the grocery store. Everyone walked past. She gave him her last $5 and her gloves. He had hugged her hands and whispered, "You won't be unseen forever." Maria's heart thudded painfully. Behind her, the millionaire finally found his voice. How on earth did you get that kind of money?" Maria didn't answer. She didn't have to. Because the manager turned to him and said, "Sir, perhaps you should learn something today." And the millionaire, the man who mocked her, stood frozen in shock as she stared at the balance that might change her entire life. And somewhere deep inside her chest, for the first time in years, something warm flickered. Hope. The bank lobby was so quiet you could hear the tick, tick, tick of the wall clock. Maria stood frozen, staring at the paper in her shaking hands, while the men behind her whispered in shock. The millionaire, the arrogant one with the diamond watch, couldn't accept what he just heard. $487,000, he stuttered. For her. His friends shifted uncomfortably. One elbowed him. "Man, just drop it." But he couldn't. Men like him didn't know how to lose. He stepped up beside Maria. Who gave you that money? He demanded. Maria flinched. The bank manager frowned. Sir, that's private information. I wasn't talking to you. The man snapped, leaning closer. Maria stepped back. Her voice came out barely above a whisper. I don't know. He scoffed. Oh, please. You expect me to believe a poor woman like you gets $500,000 out of thin air? She didn't ask you to believe anything, the manager said sharply. But the millionaire wasn't listening. Men like him rarely listen to anyone but themselves. Someone's using you, he barked. People don't just give money away, least of all to waitresses. Maria blinked. Waitress. That word wasn't meant to be an insult, but the way he said it, it cut. The lobby doors swung open again. This time, a soft gust of wind entered, and with it, a man in his late 60s walked inside. Beard trimmed, eyes gentle, clothes clean but simple. He carried a small canvas bag at his side. He moved slowly, calmly, like someone who knew exactly where he was going. Straight to Maria. The millionaire frowned. Who's this? The older man gave Maria a warm smile, the kind that touches the eyes first. Hello, Maria. She stared, confused. I don't know you. He nodded gently. You wouldn't. Not like this. The millionaire snorted. Great. Another homeless guy. The older man turned his head. There was no anger in his gaze. Just disappointment. Child, he said softly, I was homeless. I'm not anymore. The man's friends shifted, uncomfortable with the truth. He spoke like air. Maria's breath trembled. You were homeless? He nodded. Not too long ago. I slept behind the grocery store 3 blocks from your apartment. Her heart thundered. She remembered him. The night she gave her gloves away. Her last $5. I remember, she whispered. It was freezing. You were shivering. He smiled. And you stopped. Everyone else walked past. But you knelt down in the cold and wrapped those gloves around my hands. A tear slipped down her cheek. I had nothing else, she whispered. You gave everything you had, he corrected gently. That's far more than something. The millionaire stepped closer, scoffing. Oh, come on. You expect us to believe you had that kind of money. The man didn't even look at him. I wasn't always poor, he said softly. I built a company once. Lost it. Lost my home. Lost my dignity. He touched his chest gently. But I never lost the memory of kindness. He turned back to Maria. After I got back on my feet, sold some old patents, rebuilt my name. His eyes warmed. I searched for the woman who made me feel human when I had nothing. Maria covered her mouth, overwhelmed. I didn't think you'd remember me. I remember everyone who saves me, he whispered. The millionaire scoffed loudly again. This is ridiculous. You don't even know her. Why give her that much money? The old man looked at him for the first time, eyes calm and deep like still water. Because she didn't give me money, he said. She gave me humanity. The millionaire shifted uncomfortably. Still $500,000? What? The older man smiled gently at Maria. Because kindness deserves a return. And because her daughter deserves the life she keeps sacrificing for. Maria gasped. He knew. He'd looked into her life. Not to judge her, but to understand her. To the woman who gives everything and keeps nothing, he said softly. Let this be the day your world changes. Maria burst into tears. The millionaire couldn't look away. He wasn't mocking anymore. Just stunned. But then, he tried to recover his arrogance. Fine, he said, clearing his throat. But you can't expect her to manage money like that. People like her. People like her, the older man interrupted, voice suddenly sharper. Are the reason people like you ever learn humility. The millionaire's face flushed red. She helped me when I was invisible. The older man said firmly. What have you done today? Silence. Thick. Heavy. Unforgiving. Maria wiped her eyes, whispering. I didn't do anything special. He shook his head. You reminded me what humanity feels like. Now let me remind you what it feels like to breathe again. Maria looked down at her shaking hands. Thank you, she whispered. No, he said softly. Thank you. He touched her shoulder gently. Use it well, Maria. Change your life. Change your daughter's life. She nodded, tears falling freely. Then the manager cleared his throat. Ma'am, we can help you set up a security plan for your account. And financial advising is free for deposits over $100,000. The millionaire's jaw dropped. Oh, now she gets free services? The old man smiled at him. She earned them. He turned back to Maria. I'll check on you again soon. But this is only the beginning. And just like that, he walked out, leaving Maria speechless, leaving the millionaire humbled, leaving the entire bank lobby silent. Because for the first time in her life, someone saw her worth. The moment the older man left the bank, the silence he left behind pressed on everyone like a weight. Maria stood there clutching the note, tears still drying on her cheeks, her mind struggling to understand. Why her? Why now? How could one act of kindness turn into $500,000? The millionaire, meanwhile, was unraveling. He couldn't accept what had just happened in front of half the bank. A man like him, used to winning, used to control, used to being the loudest voice in every room, had been silenced by a waitress, and a man he assumed was beneath him. He stepped toward Maria, adjusting his expensive watch as if the flash of diamonds could reassemble his dignity. "Look," he said in a careful, practiced voice. "I think we got off on the wrong foot." Maria blinked, confused. His friend stared at him, shocked. He never apologized. Ever. He cleared his throat, trying again. "What I mean is, you misunderstood me earlier." She shook her head gently. "I didn't misunderstand you, sir. You said what you meant." His jaw clenched. People nearby stared. The humiliation deepened. He forced a smile. "Well, even so, now that you're in a different financial position, maybe we could, talk?" She frowned. "About what?" He stepped closer, lowering his voice. "You could invest that money. You need guidance. Direction. I know how to turn that into millions." Maria stared. "Sir, I don't want millions." He blinked. "What?" She shrugged softly. "I just want my daughter to be healthy. I want to catch up on rent. Maybe buy a used car. Maybe sleep without fear." The millionaire stared as if she had spoken a language he'd never heard. "No ambition?" he asked, baffled. She smiled gently. "Survival is ambition." He opened his mouth again, but the bank manager stepped in. "Ma'am, before you leave," he said, "there's something else you should know." Maria's heart thumped. "Something else?" He nodded, holding a sealed envelope. "It came with the transfer. The man asked us to give you this after you saw your balance." Her hands shook as she took it. The millionaire leaned closer involuntarily. "What's in it?" She didn't answer. She opened the envelope slowly, carefully, almost afraid to breathe. Inside was a single sheet of paper. Her eyes scanned it, and her hand flew to her mouth. "Oh my God," she whispered. Her knees nearly gave out. The manager steadied her gently. The millionaire hovered, shamelessly curious. "What is it?" he demanded. Maria turned the paper around with trembling hands. It wasn't a note. It wasn't money. It was a job offer. A real one. From Reynolds Hope Foundation, one of the most respected humanitarian organizations in the country. The same foundation the older man had founded. After rebuilding his life, the offer read, "Director of Community Outreach, training provided. Full salary. Full benefits. Flexible hours. For the one who taught me kindness when I had none." Maria felt her chest tighten. A job. Not charity. Not pity. A future. A career that mattered. A job helping others. The very thing her heart always needed. Tears blurred her vision again. I don't understand," she whispered. "I'm just a waitress." "No," the manager said quietly. "You're someone who changed a life. And now someone is giving you the chance to change many more." The millionaire's face turned red. "A director?" he burst out. "She? Director? She doesn't even." "Sir," the manager snapped. "That is enough." Maria stared at the offer with disbelief. "I can't accept this," she whispered. "I don't have a degree. I've never worked in an office. I don't know anything about." Behind her, someone spoke softly. "You know kindness." Maria spun around. The older man had returned, standing quietly in the doorway. "And kindness," he said, "is something you cannot teach in classrooms, or buy with wealth, or fake in corporate meetings." He stepped closer, hands folded gently behind his back. "I built a foundation meant to help people like I used to be. But somewhere along the way, I forgot what real compassion looked like." He nodded at her. "You reminded me." Maria's breath trembled. "You think I can really do this?" she whispered. The man smiled softly. "I don't think it, child. I know it." She covered her mouth again. His voice softened even more. "Yes, I gave you money. Yes, I gave you a job. But those are small things compared to what you gave me." What did I give you?" she asked through tears. "A reason to live again." Everyone fell silent. Even the millionaire. Especially the millionaire. The older man handed her one last folded note. She opened it. Inside, written in simple ink, were 6 words. It's your turn to be seen. Maria broke. Right there in the lobby, her hands shaking around the letter. Her heart finally feeling something it had been denied for years. Worth. And behind her, the wealthy man who mocked her stood frozen, realizing that all his money had never bought him the kind of respect a single act of kindness had earned her. The moment Maria accepted the letter to her chest, the world around her felt softer, as if the universe itself had finally exhaled with her. But not everyone shared that peace. The millionaire stood frozen, jaw tight, hands clenched at his sides. He couldn't look away from her. A waitress, a woman he mocked, a woman he dismissed as nothing, now offered a future bigger than anything he ever imagined for her. His pride burned hot, so hot it pushed him forward before he could stop himself. Wait, he said sharply, stepping toward her. This doesn't make sense. You're just. Maria flinched, but the older man turned smoothly. Finish that sentence, he said quietly, and I'll make sure you regret it. The millionaire froze mid-breath. Everyone in the lobby was watching now. Maria swallowed hard, her voice trembling but gentle. Sir, why are you so angry? He opened his mouth, but nothing came out. His friends shifted behind him, embarrassed. He ran a hand through his expensive hair, trying to rebuild his shattered arrogance. I'm not angry, he said stiffly. I'm just confused. How does someone like you get something like this? Maria looked down, hurt tightening her throat. The older man stepped forward. Someone like her, he repeated. What does that mean? She's nobody, the millionaire blurted out. A waitress. The lobby gasped. Maria's hands curled into fists, not in anger, but in pain. The older man inhaled, the disappointment heavy in his chest. Let me tell you something, he said slowly. I was once worth less than the clothes you're wearing right now. He pointed at his own jacket. And a waitress, someone just like her, saved my life. The millionaire blinked. I was invisible, the older man continued. And the woman who saved me didn't care about my status, or money, or reputation. She cared about my heart. His voice softened. And the day I rebuilt my life, I swore I would give back to someone who carried that same heart. He turned to Maria, and this time, his eyes shined with pride. That someone was you. The millionaire opened his mouth again. But surprisingly, his voice broke instead of rising. But I didn't mean. He looked down, embarrassed. I didn't think. Maria watched him carefully. For the first time, he didn't look powerful. He looked lost. People like me, she whispered, were used to being underestimated. Her words hit him, harder than all the corrections of the day. She didn't speak with anger, just truth. The millionaire swallowed. I judged you, he admitted quietly. And I'm sorry. She nodded, tears warming her eyes, but this time not from hurt. Thank you, she said softly. He looked at the floor, shame twisting in his chest. But how do you do it, he whispered. How do you stay kind when the world treats you like it did today? Maria looked down at the letter. The scholarship, the job offer, the life she didn't know she deserved. Then she smiled softly. Kindness is free, she whispered. It just costs pride. Her words silenced the room. Even the millionaire felt something shift. He wasn't fully redeemed, but for the first time in a long time, he finally felt humbled. The older man stepped beside Maria and placed a gentle hand on her shoulder. Come, he said warmly. We have much to plan. Your new life begins today. Maria laughed through her tears. But I still have a shift in 2 hours. No, he smiled. You don't. The manager hurried over, beaming. Maria, you are officially on permanent leave, fully paid until you're settled in your new position. Maria covered her mouth, overwhelmed. Permanent leave? Yes, the older man chuckled. We can't have our new director serving pancakes anymore. She laughed, and for the first time in years, her laughter wasn't weighed down by exhaustion or fear. It was free. Outside, the sun spilled through the glass doors, warm and golden, as if it was welcoming her into a brighter chapter. Maria turned back to the millionaire, the one who had mocked her, and then learned from her. I hope, she said softly, that you never forget today. He nodded, eyes lowered. I won't. She smiled. Good. Because the only real wealth is who you become when no one's watching. He swallowed hard, unable to meet her gaze. Maria stepped outside, letting the sunlight wash over her. The older man followed. They walked slowly into the glow of a future built not on money, but on kindness. And as the doors shut behind them, the millionaire whispered to himself, I wish I had her heart. But he didn't. And that was why she rose today, while he learned his greatest lesson. If this story touched your heart, share it. Because kindness doesn't always wear a smile, and heroes don't always wear uniforms. Sometimes, they walk in covered in dust, carrying stories that could change your heart forever.